When purchasing a farm property, soil type should be a primary consideration because you want to ensure that the land will be suitable for the crop you are looking to grow. Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada have made provincial soil maps available online by searching Canadian Soil Information Service and clicking on Soil Survey Reports and Printed Maps. Soil maps are also available through your regional Department of Agriculture offices. Soil maps are available by county. Select the map of the county in which the farm property of interest is located. Begin by locating the property on the map, using landmarks such as place names, roads, and watercourses. Sometimes it is helpful to first view an aerial photo of the property or locate the farm using Google Maps. On the soil survey map, different soil types are depicted using various colors and symbols. In the example shown, the soil type is depicted using the color purple and the symbol QPH. Using the legend on the side of the map, the soil series can be identified as a queen soil. The legend also gives an indication of the soil capability and describes the soil as suitable for general farming such as hay, grain, or pasture. The legend also notes that the area is not suitable for a wide variety of crops due to topography or drainage. Comparing the soil symbol to other information given in the legends will also provide information on stoniness and topography, such as land slope. It is important to note that several soil types may exist on one farm and provide very different growing conditions. While soil maps are a useful tool, they do have limitations and properties should not be purchased exclusively based on soil type listed on a soil map. The information gained from walking the property and digging holes to get a sense of soil type and drainage is very useful. The previous property owner can also be a valuable source of information, providing you with some of the property's history, such as what crops were grown, if any tile drainage is installed, and what fields are prone to flooding.
So if you're thinking about buying a piece of land or leasing a piece of land, the very first thing I would do is just simply walk over it and look for surface clues of what lies beneath. If you really want to know what's happening under the ground, though, the only way to know is by grabbing a shovel, which is going to be one of your best tools in assessing what your soil is, and actually get down and start to dig a pit, which we've done here. Just right off the bat, you can tell it's kind of a clay, got some clay content in it, probably a clay loam maybe. And it's not a bad soil type to have, really, and right off the bat you can tell there's actually some nice soil aggregation here, and some pretty decent fibrous roots coming through there. I always say good soil structure should look kind of like granola. If I were to drop this on the ground, on the road, or on something flat and hard, what you should see is that it should break apart. So ideally you want to do this on a hard surface, but you should see it come apart a bit. It is a little bit sticky. Again, it's probably some of the clay content in there. One of the other things you can do to just take a look at your soil texture is actually do the ribbon test. It's a really simple, quick test, but it'll tell you quite a bit about your soil texture. And soil texture is important because it's going to tell you quite a bit about what the land capability and what crops are going to be suited for this area that you're looking at. Very simply done. If you have a little bit of water today, it's not too hard to find moisture in the ground, but you want to make sure your soil's moist when you do this so you can form a bit of a ball. And then very simply all you do is press it in between your two fingers and try and form a ribbon. And you can see there, I'm getting a bit of a ribbon, but it's breaking off probably just before it gets to be about 5 centimeters. So it's not really heavy clay, likely a bit of a loam there. I can feel there's some silt in there too. Silt feels kind of slippery, almost like you're feeling a bar of soap. So there's definitely some silt in there, some clay, and I don't feel a whole lot of sand. Sand's really easy to feel. Again, you get that gritty feeling if you rub it in between your fingers with a little bit of water. Initially, we thought there might be a water issue here. Sometimes it's hard to tell, especially if we did have a heavy rain. You don't know how quickly your soil's going to drain. But if you dig down, and what's happening in this pit is we're actually getting water seepage coming in through the sides. If we walked away and left this pit, that water level would likely rise, and at some point, if you wanted to get to the bottom, you'd have to actually bail it out. So again, it's wet ground. So even though the structure in the surface looks pretty good, you know, you've got nice aggregation, some organic matter there, you know, you've got a pretty decent soil texture here. There is some clay, but it's not too heavy. We've got something else that's happening here that's making this water table perch, and we're getting a lot of water collection here, and you can actually see it running in and through the sides of the pit. So again, in this field, that's going to be a challenge. So one of your management options might be to consider some type of drainage. So this site is quite a bit different than the other site we were visiting earlier today. As you can see right off the bat, one of the challenges here is going to be you're dealing with topography. So if you're growing anything like an annual crop, or that's what you want to grow, you know, this site is certainly going to have a challenge of topography. And what that means is that if you get a heavy rain, there may be some erosion problems. And certainly there are techniques you can use to try and alleviate that. But again, that's a challenge you'll need to be aware of. For forage, if your ground is covered all the time, topography may not be such an issue, but again, keep in mind when it comes to harvesting, if you're looking at harvesting it rather than using it for pasture, it may be tricky to get some equipment over some of these knolls and dips. So if we take a dig down, we'll see exactly what's underneath our feet here. And already the digging's much harder. I can tell I'm just down probably about 25 centimeters and I'm hitting quite a compact layer there, gravelly. So again, you know, your soil structure doesn't look too bad out here. It's quite friable, you know, you can imagine, with the exception of some of the rocks here, that's not too difficult to get some roots down there. So what you want to do really ideally is match up your own goals with what your farm and what the land's going to be able to do for you. You definitely can make some improvements to your land, but by coming in and having a really good handle on what your land capability is initially, will give you a really good indication as to whether or not that piece of property is good for what your goals are. And if you can do that, you're really, I think, going to set yourself up for success.